Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Calls for a review of justice system as a means to deal with crime and violence island-wide. Maritime security bolstered with addition of new Coast Guard vessel. And later in sports, Reggae Girls coach pleased with draw despite missing out on automatic World Cup qualification. Thank you for joining us. I'm Shane Masters and here are the details. Deputy Commissioner of Police Fitz Bailey is calling for a comprehensive review of the country's justice system, including correctional institutions, as a means of addressing the long-standing issue of violence in the country. His comments come amid the country recording multiple murders in several shooting incidents. Prince Moore has the details.
DCP Bailey revealed yesterday that 85 double murders have been committed in Jamaica so far this year, compared to 95 last year. He says the country has also recorded 16 triple murders, just one down from 17 last year, and 4 quadruple murders have been carried out so far this year, compared to 2 during the corresponding period in 2022. DCP Bailey says prisoners are behind several of the murders. He is therefore urging that proper programs be established in the correctional system to reform inmates.
A lot of the violence that the general population is facing emanates from the prison. The directive, the order is given from within the prison. And I think we have to really pay some more attention to the prison structure, create proper programs for the inmates within the penal institution, ensure that they are exposed to things that will change the way they think. It's not an easy task, but we need the willpower to really treat with that. Because what we're going to do is to arrest, put them in jail, and then we breed a factory of criminals, and they come back on the street and continue to perpetrate the crime.
He was speaking on Beyond the Headlines. Prince Moore, TVJ News.
Meanwhile, social anthropologist Dr. Herbert Gale says too much emphasis is placed on the police to deal with a rising murder rate. He says other institutions must play their part in addressing the root cause of crime.
It does require a whole violence reduction plan, and that means looking at the 4 bars, how many persons are deprived of food, deprived of a support system through parenting, people's sense of safety, and people's opportunities, because we're seeing data now from Ministry of Education, from all different units of work we're doing now. We're seeing up to 40% of some units of boys saying that they have no idea what tomorrow looks like because they feel already dead. You can't operate a society with that.
Concerns are mounting in the education sector about the safety of teachers as there continues to be more cases of disruptive behaviors among students. This follows a recent incident in which a teacher at a St. James-based high school was physically assaulted by her student and the tire of another teacher's vehicle at the institution slashed just a day after. Details in this report.
For years, school administrators have grappled with student-on-student violence, but the situation has grown grimmer. Students are now fighting teachers, with teachers now being too scared to attend work. Just last week, a 9th grade student at the Spot Valley High School in St. James repeatedly slapped her female teacher in the face after being reprimanded.
We're all at a stage right now where we are feeling fear. We would have had some meetings with different persons, and as far as I'm concerned, our teachers are really trying their best despite what has happened.
President of the Jamaica Teachers Association, Leighton Johnson, confirmed that gang activities have now made their way onto school compounds.
Gangs are in schools. We have students who are aligned to outside influences and outside forces that make them almost untouchable in some regard.
In the Spot Valley incident, the student has been suspended for 10 days pending investigations. The assaulted teacher was driven to the hospital after the incident.
That teacher is not yet back in school. She is really going through a lot. She would have been to the doctor and would have expressed her fear of returning to work And it's right across the board because it is something that we grapple with not only at this school but at other schools. It is just sad that this has happened, and she is still in fear as it relates to the whole atmosphere of the students that she'll be teaching when she comes back.
The JTA president proposed a solution in light of the significant breakdown in discipline.
The schools need the support from all social agencies, need the support of the police, need the support of the school resource officers, need the support of the Ministry of Education in ensuring that our schools remain the safe spaces that they once were.
Herman Green, TVJ News.
Predial thieves struck in Martins Hill, New Green, Manchester early Wednesday morning, but they were forced to abandon the prized bull they slaughtered after alerts residents raised an alarm. Now Shamela Pullen reports.
Paul Sherwood, a cattle farmer in Martins Hill, New Green, Manchester, says about 6 Wednesday morning, thieves tried to make off with the carcass of his prized bull. Mr. Sherwood says he was getting dressed to attend to his cattle when a resident who saw the suspicious activities called him.
I finished putting my clothes on and I came down. And when I got here now, I realized that my service bull, he was removed from the pasture that I placed him, and he was brought over to a paddock right here next to the road where I had the mother cows. And I saw the belly and I saw half of the cow close to the road, right up the top there. And the head and the testicles and so were all there.
Mr. Sherwood says this is a big loss for him. He believes the thieves are familiar with the people in the area.
Someone in the area, people in the area know about this thing. It's not just some strange random guy coming from nowhere to take this. If they have some people outside that they collaborate with, but people in the area knows what happened.
And you're saying that based on how your place is set up, it's not easy to access?
It's not easy because it's right along the main road and people are watching it all the time. So it's not just so easy for people to just come here, and the animals are let go. They're not in rope. So you can see the struggle that went on between them and that bull, because it's not an easy bull to handle. He wasn't raised in rope.
Meanwhile, President of the Manchester branch of the GAS, Jones Oliphant, says discussions between the GAS and the police to address the problem of predial larceny are ongoing.
There are some plans that we have in progress, but I wouldn't want to mention those now because we have to keep it close to our chest as farmers. But we will share those with the police as to what we will do here on in terms of security of our farms and our families.
Shamela Pullen, TVJ News.
A new Coast Guard vessel has been commissioned into service to bolster Jamaica's border protection. This just days after a boat of illegal migrants from Haiti landed in Portland. But the Security Ministry says the move defends against more than just illegal migrants. Details in this report. As the country looks to increase its reliance on the blue economy, significant efforts are being made to ensure that Jamaican waters are equipped with the requisite resources to prevent illegal activities. It's why on Wednesday, a new Coast Guard vessel, His Majesty's Jamaican ship Norman Manley, was commissioned into service. Chief of Defense Staff, Rear Admiral Antoinette Weems Gorman, says the vessel will assist in bolstering the Coast Guard's operation in maritime activities. This includes maritime law enforcement, maritime safety, search and rescue, port security, customs and immigration law enforcement, and fisheries protection. National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang says with Jamaica being a significant link to a number of key trade areas across the globe, it's imperative that the country's waters are protected.
Jamaica's strategic roadmap to sustainable development and growth cannot be separated from its vision of creating a society where security is central. Its naming and commissioning ceremony of His Majesty's Jamaican ship Norman Manley further confirms the government's commitment to comprehensive and strategic approach to a sustainable blue economy and making our island nation a safer and more secure space. A sustainable blue economy emerges when economic activity is in balance with the long-term capacity of oceans ecosystems to support its activity and remain resilient and healthy.
It's why he says the security of the country's maritime space is essential, especially in light of the drugs for gun trade and human trafficking.
These are the threats that challenge the development of a sustainable blue economy for Jamaica. Security within Jamaican maritime claim is central to the island's peace, security, and economic growth. And indeed, the criminal organization, the trafficking of drugs, guns impact the territorial stability, because many ask why the investment in the Marine and the MAC Brigade, and in particular the ocean-going patrol vessels. It is important to ensure safety in the maritime space, because that's where the money is generated. That generates the criminal activity and organized criminal groups.
And it's time for a breaking on the midday news. Stay with us, more stories when we return. Welcome back to the midday news. The family of an elderly man is seeking the public's assistance in finding him. 81-year-old Wilbur Gabardon of James Hill in Clarendon has been missing since Sunday, November 26. It's understood that he left home around 10 o'clock in the morning to go to a corner shop. He has not been seen or heard from since. Mr. Gabardon's family is offering $1,000 for his safe return. Anyone with information that can help in locating Mr. Gabardon is asked to contact the family at 876-378-5176. That's 876-378-5176, or call the nearest police station. And it's now time for the Business Minute. Microlender Dollar Financial has been approved for funding from the Development Bank of Jamaica, DBJ. In a notice to the Jamaica Stock Exchange, the company says it was given the green light for a 500 million Jamaican dollar facility. The funds are generally earmarked for accredited microfinance institutions, MFI, approved by the DBJ. This falls under the DBJ's Micro, Small and Medium-Sized Enterprise MSME line of credit and is to be dispersed and managed by Mayberry Investments Limited. The DBJ says it has lent more than $11.9 billion to MFIs since the microfinance window was established in 2009. At least 12 other institutions have benefited from the program. The US dollar index is trending towards a 3.7% loss this month. That would make it the worst monthly performance in a year. The index measures the American dollar against a basket of 6 major currencies. As recently as early October, the US dollar index was surging by more than 7%. That is during the time of expectations that the Federal Reserve would keep interest rates high. That actually boosts the value of a currency by attracting more capital from abroad into the country. But now, investors believe the Fed will soon turn to cutting rates amid signs of a weakening U.S. economy. And that's it for the Business Minute. Time now for the top regional and international stories.
In the region, reporters in Mexico took to the streets of Acapulco Wednesday in protest demanding an end to violence against journalists in the country. This follows a recent attack on 5 of their colleagues in what officials are describing as one of the largest mass attacks on reporters in Mexico in a decade. 4 photojournalists were shot and wounded after leaving a crime scene in South Guerrero State, while a reporter was shot in the neighboring state of Michoacan. On the international scene, former U.S. Secretary of State Henry Kissinger died at his home in Connecticut yesterday at the age of 100. Kissinger was appointed the 56th Secretary of State in 1973. He escaped Nazi Germany in his youth to become one of the most influential foreign policy figures in American history and was synonymous with U.S. foreign policy in the 1970s. And criminal charges have been filed against 2 GOP officials in Arizona in the U.S. Supervisors Peggy Judd and Tom Crosby were each charged with 2 felonies, interference with an election officer and conspiracy. The indictment alleges that they knowingly interfered with then Secretary of State Katie Hobbs' work to certify the state's election results by delaying the canvass of the county's roughly 47,000 votes in the 2022 general election. And those are the top regional and international stories. I'm Carrie Simpson.
We head to a quick break. When we come back, Spencer Darlington will have your midday sports report.